Next topic we're going to get into is what does FHWA rulemaking on bridge performance measures mean to you? The way we're going to handle this is we're going to have the Federal Highway viewpoint. They're going to go over some outline about what was in the rulemaking, and then we're going to hear from 3 states. We're going to hear from Vermont, J.B. McCarthy, and Maine, John Buxton and Doug Gosling from New Hampshire. And first off, we're going to have Federal Highways to come up, though. So representing Federal Highways are the Division Bridge Engineer from New Hampshire, Karim Naji, and Maria Droyos from Maine. She's the Federal Highway representative from Maine. So let me get the, here it is. So I think they're going to be doing a tag team on their presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. I guess I want to start saying thanks. We don't have any tunnels in New Hampshire. With the new requirements, you guys see it's a lot of, beside the MBIS, the MBIP actually, there is a new requirements for all the inspectors and through the tunnels. And is that going to be effective sometime? I think next, Dennis, is going to be sometime next year? Next year, sometime next year. Yeah, I'm gonna go through these slides. Actually, it's Dennis touched a little bit on rulemaking for the performance measures. Actually, and I'm gonna talk. Actually, we're gonna give an overview actually of the transportation performance management and MAP-21, and also the national performance management measures and. Basically, we're going to discuss only the bridge part here, and the state targets here. We'll discuss it also in the next slide, and the Federal Highway assessing and progress towards achieving those targets. MAP-21. Actually, the cornerstone of MAP-21 is the transition to performance and outcome-based program. Basically, we're moving performance right now. MAP-21 instituted a new performance and accountability requirement for state to use in prioritizing NHPP, the National Highway Performance Program, projects. So this is going to affect only NHPP, actually, anything funded under NHPP. The transportation management, transportation performance management is a strategic approach that uses system information to make investment and policy decisions to achieve national performance goals. Like I said, I will mention these 7 performance goals later in the next slide. How the whole thing is going to be implemented. Basically, the USDOT will establish measures, which has already been done. The proposed rulemaking, which is anticipated final rules in early 2016. So the DOT, they received all comments, a bunch of comments actually. There was in April, I believe, when they closed the whole. Receiving all those comments, and in early 2016, there final rules will be issued. So, and then states and MPOs set those targets that reflect measures. So the state, they will get the chance to basically to set their own targets here. State and MPO planning process will guide the program and project selection to help achieve those targets. Still here, the state and the MPO have a lot to say here. And the states and MPOs report to USDOT. Basically here, on the progress towards achieving targets, the report USDOT basically the division offices, make sure. So it's not like a DC, so we'll report to their local offices, division offices. And then the division office here will assess the progress towards achieving those targets. This is the national performance goals and the MAP-21. I guess you can see here those are 7. The safety, always number 1. The second one here, infrastructure condition, basically to maintain the highway infrastructure asset system in a state of good repair. So the good repair here, Maria will discuss those performance measures. The bridge performance measure here, I'll hand it over to Maria, and she'll go through all of them here. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm just going to provide some additional detail on the proposed rulemaking as it relates to the bridge. There are basically two performance measures that were included in the proposed rulemaking. As a couple of people already mentioned, the comment period has closed in April, and the final rule is supposed to come out in early 2016. But the two performance measures that relate to bridges are basically percentage of deck area in good condition on the NHS, and also percentage of deck area on the NHS in poor condition. This schematic kind of shows you, for those of you that are familiar with the NBI data collection and the NBI coding guide, these two performance measures are going to be based on the NDI data, and the data that's going to be used is for deck, which is item 58, item 59 is superstructure, and item 60 for substructure, or item 62 if the bridge happens to be a culvert. So those are the condition ratings that are going to be used to develop the performance measures. This gives you a little bit of criteria on those two performance measures. And again, we got fair condition included in there also. Right now in the proposed rulemaking, there's only two performance measures, one for good and one for poor. The performance measure for good condition rating is, for those of you who are aware of the NBI data coding, on scale from 0 to 10 to 9. The good condition rating means that the condition of the deck, superstructure, and substructure is greater or equal to 7. And for culverts, it's also greater or equal to 7. For poor condition rating, the condition rating equals to 4 or less. And again, those are going to be the two items that are currently in the proposed rulemaking. And if it shows up the same way in the final rule, that's what you can expect. This is just an example of determining the overall classification for these performance measures. This example shows you one for poor condition. Basically, you have to, well, let me just, again, the three components for the condition rating for deck, superstructure, and substructure are ranked, every 2 years by bridge inspectors. And if the rating is 7 or greater, then that component is considered to be in good condition. For this particular example, you've got deck and superstructure that are both above 7, and the substructure is equal to 4. Based on that, the overall classification for that bridge is poor. And the next slide is going to summarize that a little bit. Basically, what it means is for a bridge to be in good condition, it has to have all the three metrics, item 58, 59, and 60, be equal to 7 or greater. If any of those components are in poor condition, at 4 or less, that bridge would be considered to be in a poor condition. And this slide kind of shows you who's going to be doing some of these things. The states, MPOs, and turnpikes, owners of bridges on the NHS will be required to work together and establish these target goals for those two performance measures. Like I said, entire NHS system is part of those two metrics regardless of ownership. You can have federally owned bridges on the NHS in a given state. You can have a turnpike or a state DOT owning those as well. Right now in the proposal, the performance period is 4 years. There were some schedules listed in the rulemaking as far as when to potentially expect these reports being due. But again, we'll wait on the final rule to have the information as far as when these progress reports are due. And Kareem had mentioned some of this stuff already, that federal highway offices will be looking at or evaluating the progress made based on the reports that are submitted from the states for those two metrics. And also those reports, the way they were included in the rulemaking, were expected to be received by federal highway every 2 years. The one other component that is not included on our slides that appeared in rulemaking was also a change to NBI data submittal date. The date that was included in there was March 15th. As most of you know, currently it's April 1st. That's all I have, in case you guys have any questions.
I think we'll hold questions till after we go through all of the presentations, and then we'll do questions for
Okay.
everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks.